Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Henry Ford College Board of Trustees meeting. Today is November 17th, 2025. It is 7:03. I call this meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Trustee Aljehmi.
Here.
Trustee Vezzi.
Here.
Trustee D'Ambrosio.
Here.
Vice Chair Petlicoff.
Here.
Trustee Suba.
Here.
Trustee Zahar here. Chair Moses.
Here, thank you. Next item, please.
Next item, excuse me. Next item is approval of minutes for the following Board of Trustees meetings. The regular Board of Trustees meeting on October 20th, 2025. I'm looking for someone to make any necessary corrections, I'm looking for someone to move to make any necessary corrections and to approve these minutes.
So move.
Support.
Moved by Trustee D'Ambrosio, supported by Trustee Petlicoff. Any corrections to the minutes from the last meeting? Seeing none, may I attach a unanimous roll to this motion?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries. Next item, please.
Next item is recognition and acknowledgements.
Good evening, Board of Trustees, President Gonko, Chair Mosip. I have the great pleasure of introducing to you today a student who graduated from our college in May and has a very unique story. His name is Kenny Isaacson. He is now working for the City of Detroit. He'll tell you more about himself and his story. It's also an inspirational story on our website right now, and he's going to do our student reading and acknowledgements.
Thank you, President Gonko, Chair Mosip, and members of the board. My name is Kenny Isaacson. I graduated from HFC in May with an Associate of Applied Science degree as a firefighter paramedic, as well as the paramedic certificate and EMT certificate. And I work for the Detroit Fire Department as a firefighter paramedic. And I appreciate this opportunity to tell you about some of my experiences. My childhood was unfortunate enough that I was in foster care in two separate countries, both Russia and the United States. I was born about 1,000 miles east of Moscow in the Permkrai Oblast of Russia. An oblast is like a state, in an area the size of Wisconsin. I don't know exactly what town or village I was from. My birth date was assigned during the adoption and immigration proceedings, and I spent about 1 to 2 years in a Russian government orphanage. As of today, that's all I know about my first 2 years of life. There's no pictures, no records, no names, no dates, no nothing. I immigrated to the United States and grew up here in Dearborn Heights, going to Crestwood schools. I went to church on Sundays. I was a Cub Scout. I was a Boy Scout. My adoptive parents had me enrolled in martial arts. I got several medals at the state and national levels in Tang Soo Do. I was really adamant with my church about feeding homeless people when we went on our trips down to Detroit. Unfortunately, when I was 13 years old, my dad suffered some pretty serious health problems and was no longer present in our home. My mom had to work a second job, and she was no longer present in the home. And it was a mix of those circumstances, as well as some issues with my sister, like behavior issues, that landed me in Michigan's foster care system. And that's really where the pain began. I went through 11 different schools in about 3.5 years. And at one point was 2.5 years behind, what it took to graduate high school. I lived in foster homes, group homes. I lived in a prison camp for juveniles outside of Saginaw. And all but one of the foster care facilities I was in have been closed, either because of abuse or because of the children who died in those facilities. So I'm a survivor. That is what the governor has called me, and there are kids who are not survivors, and I'll talk a little bit about that. What propelled me into the career of emergency services, when I was 16 years old, when I was in one of those foster care placements, the child that I was bunking with had been pretty horribly abused, we'll just call it that, and decided that he couldn't handle life anymore and committed suicide in our room. And it was spending the night with his remains before they got him in the morning that put me in a place where I never wanted to see something bad happen and not be able to stand up and do something about it. So when I was Senior year of high school, I was able to enroll in an EMT program. I went through high school during the morning, and I went through EMT school at Kellogg Community College. However, because I had bounced around to so many schools, I was 2.5 years behind in high school and had 4 months to make up those 2.5 years. So I dropped the EMT program, went to an alternative high school in Albion. It was super aggressive with getting my diploma, and I got my diploma on time. After high school, I transitioned to an independent living program for foster kids in Kalamazoo. I re-enrolled in the EMT program at Kalamazoo Valley Community College. In addition to going to EMT school, I had a part-time job at Taco Bell, and I worked as a ranch hand. So I chopped firewood and fed horses and did a bunch of work that was kind of hard for someone that grew up in Dearborn Heights. It was great up until 20 weeks into my 32-week EMT program. The independent living home that I was in was closed down due to budget reasons. So I was sent back to the Metro Detroit area, right? And I have 12 weeks left of my EMT class. I don't have a car, so we're gonna drop out, right? We're just gonna quit and say, you know what? It was a ridiculous dream. I'm not gonna do it. I had saved up that money from Taco Bell and working as a ranch hand, and I bought Amtrak tickets, enough Amtrak tickets to go back and forth across the state for the rest of my 12 weeks as a foster kid in the EMT Academy. And one of the most difficult challenges of that was the timing from when I got out of EMT class at night to when the time the train came was so close that if I didn't run fast enough between campus and the train station, I had nowhere to sleep if I missed that train. And that happened to me 4 times. So, but nevertheless, I graduated, got my EMT license. I got my EMT and my medical first responder as a foster child, the only person in state history to do so, even today. And I got a job with MedStar Ambulance, responding to 911 calls in Macomb County. After getting out of foster care, I went through the fire academy at Schoolcraft College, and then was hired as a firefighter EMT for the City of B course. Spent a little time doing that while I prepared for paramedic school, and I chose Henry Ford for my paramedic program because I heard that it was one of the toughest paramedic schools in Michigan, and I only want the toughest because I want to see how I stack up against the best. And it was a very tough program, not just because of the coursework. Rob and Shannon, they're very thorough teachers, but there were some experiences during my clinicals that reminded me of some of the abuse situations that I survived when I was in foster care. A lot of the traumatic situations in the emergency room on the ambulance reminded me, like the screams and the blood and all that stuff. And I was diagnosed with PTSD while I was a student here. But I did a lot to keep that a secret from everybody because I was worried that I would get kicked out of school, out of the paramedic program, if they knew that I was struggling with the things that I was seeing at school. Even so, with all the mental health challenges that I had, I graduated top of my class here at Henry Ford. I was the #1 paramedic student that year. I got a faculty recommendation. And as soon as I got my paramedic license, the very first place I applied to was the City of Detroit, because I heard that if you can make it as a paramedic in Detroit, you can be a paramedic anywhere. And it was a tough hiring process. There were 500 people competing for 40 spots. And so I had to prove that I was better than 10 other people that wanted my spot. I was the only paramedic that the City of Detroit hired this year. So my academy experience was a bit tougher than most because when the rest of my buddies as EMTs went off to the street, I had to stay back for 2 weeks and do all the paramedic level skills. But I excelled at that too, and I got promoted to paramedic on my birthday this past year. Then in May this year, I graduated with my degree from Henry Ford College. And what was unique about my graduation, in the morning, I noticed a lot of the students, they had like decorations on their graduation cap. They decorated it however the students decorated it. And for me, I wanted to never forget that I'm very, very fortunate, and more fortunate than most of the kids. So I put this picture on my hat. This is Cornelius Fredericks. He was a foster child that I was in placement with, and he was killed by the staff at the facility that we were at because he threw a sandwich and he missed the trash can, and they restrained him until he asphyxiated. And he died as a result at 16 years old. So I carried his picture with me when I got my diploma, so that way he could experience walking across the stage and graduating from college. And then later that day, I was given a tribute, a governor's tribute, to my surprise, for being the first and only person in Michigan to work on an ambulance as a foster child. And then last month I was upgraded. I received a congressional recognition because they cross-checked it with all 50 states, and I'm the only person in the United States to work as a first responder as a foster child. So it's now today, I'm a mentor for foster kids with the Judson Center. I share my experiences with current kids in the system, and I'm working with Lansing and Washington, and hopefully Henry Ford College, to allow more foster youth to become first responders and pursue whatever dreams they have at the college level. So I want to thank you guys so much for letting me share that. I would now like to read this month's acknowledgments. The college has been named a gold-level, veteran-friendly school by the Michigan Veterans Affairs Agency for the 8th consecutive year. The award recognizes our outstanding services to veterans, reservists, and military-connected students. The Veterans Services Office also honored students on November 11th with a free Veterans Day luncheon. Congratulations to Associate Dean Nala Haidar of HFC School of STEM for being awarded the 2025 Teaching Excellence Award by the Michigan Mathematical Association of Two-Year Colleges. Her nomination by colleague Sam Bazzi highlights her dedication to instructional effectiveness, student support, and professional engagement. Congratulations to the college for being awarded $72,000 from Apple's Community Education Initiative to develop new courses in app development, augmented reality, drone programming, and Apple IT support. These efforts will expand technical and career pathways for K-12 and college students. We are grateful to the faculty and staff teams at HFC who have generously donated to the Hawk's Nest Fall Food Drive competition. This is an effort to restock the on-campus food pantry, which provides food and personal items any enrolled student in need as part of our commitment to student success. The drive ends tomorrow. In December, we will let you know how much food was donated and how many students were served. Thank you for this opportunity to be this month's reader. Do you have any questions I can answer?
Trustee Petlishkov?
I don't have any questions. I just have to say, you are a testament to the human spirit. Your story can bring someone to tears, but it can also bring someone a lot of joy in the hope and your survivor instincts that propelled you to where you are today. And I can only wish the very best for you in the future, and I think we really do need to be a part of helping provide those opportunities that you've fought for all alone, but that we can help project those others who you can steer our way. And I thank you for that.
Trustee Giambrosio?
Yeah, your amazing story. I mean, I belong to a service club, okay, and our community service club does a lot of things, and I'd like to reach out to see where I can help you, whether it be our club can help you financially or support anything that you are currently involved in. So please feel free to reach out, and I'll give you my card.
Yes, sir. I can pass that now. No, I'll leave the stack here.
Yeah. We'll pass.
Trustee Zar?
And thank you
Thank you.
Thanks.
for your time.
Thank you.
How old did you say you were?
24.
All right, well, I'd like to thank you for reminding us of two things today. First, how The rest of us are clearly not doing enough with our lives. We need to do a lot more. And number two, about the power of this institution and why we're all here. You know, you are the kind of story that the reason that we do what we do. And so thank you for that. I also echo Trustee D'Ambrosio. I think I can speak for everyone to say that we're all here for you. Whatever you need, just get in touch with us. Also, he left out one thing. He said he would like some martial arts lessons. That's what he leaned over and told me halfway through. So what kind of martial arts?
Right now I do judo.
Yeah.
And it's rough, you know, working in Detroit, working in the east side, in the 3rd Battalion, it's dangerous. I have my bulletproof vest in the car. I have to wear a bulletproof vest on every single call for service. And it's department policy because of how dangerous it is to be a paramedic in Detroit. And I hope I never have to, you know, protect myself and my partner, but that's something I have to consider every time I step off the truck.
Well, we're all proud of you, and we're all here for you when you need us.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, Kenny, you have so much courage, so much bravery. The things also that you provided to us is very helpful, especially some suggestions to Henry Ford College of how can we be as an institution to include foster youth. That is something definitely President Ganko will consider, and we'll definitely keep in touch. And thank you. Your story is inspiring, and you're a great representative of Henry Ford College. Trustee Elja?
Yeah. Yeah, the word is inspiring, and to go along with inspiring, it's also the persistence and the strength. And I think you could benefit more than just foster kids, just kids in general. You know, we have a lot of kids nowadays, and I speak about my kids, there's a sense of entitlement. Things are too easy, and they don't appreciate. Someone like you will send a wake-up call to kids in our community, and I'm just so impressed. And like Pat and everyone here said, we're here for you. I'm just, it's a story I haven't heard before. You know, from an orphan kid in Russia to becoming what you are and going through all the things that you mentioned, you know, you're inspiring us. So thank you.
Thank you so much. A round of applause. And we'd like to take Kenny would like to take a picture. All right. Thank you for that. That was truly inspiring. Next item, please.
Next item is the president's items.
President
Thank
Ganko.
you, Secretary Czar, Chair Mosip. I kind of don't want to follow that. I don't think I can say anything that is going to that's going to top that.
You're not going to impress us now,
I know,
are
I
you?
really won't. But I will start off by saying it is so nice to have a full complement of trustees up here for the first time, and extend a formal welcome to Trustee Soba, who is joining us for the first official meeting, even though he was officially part of the board a couple months ago now. The October meeting, some of you may know, he was on his honeymoon, and so a good reason for missing the meeting, but we're glad to have you with us tonight. I'll start off with an update on the SEMC. Some of the work that has been occurring over the last month has been either technical or mechanical in nature. The campus topographic and underground utility surveys are officially completed, and discussions continue regarding the chiller plant. We've also engaged in very preliminary discussions about landscaping needs, particularly the area that will be surrounding the new construction. On the renovation front, we have received the schematic designs for buildings A and K, as well as the new building that has no letter as of right now. Dean Brad Romans held a town hall for all of the faculty impacted by the N building demolition and the K building renovation, and obtained their feedback on these preliminary designs for K building. My understanding is that that meeting was very productive and positive, and feedback obtained from that meeting will be used to inform the final designs for K. A similar meeting is now being planned for those who will be occupying the renovated A building, where that process will occur to showcase preliminary designs and then also obtain feedback. We continue to be on track for the A building renovation to begin in May of 2026. We will be seeking to schedule a building and site committee, likely coming the first week of December if we can get that on the books, so we can get our building and site committee kind of caught up on all of the work that's been occurring in the last month or month and a half. And further, the team is also meeting tomorrow, our internal team, to discuss plans for a town hall type of event open to the community to focus on vendors and suppliers per the board's discussion last month about ways in which we might be able to leverage local talent and suppliers for the project. So more information is forthcoming on that once we have that event planned. Of course, the new building project is just one of many of the exciting initiatives that are happening on campus. I'll highlight a couple of recent activities, starting with our recent First Gen celebration. On Friday, November 7th, the academic advising team under the leadership of program advisor Ashley Cheers hosted a first generation college celebration to coincide with a National Day of Recognition that occurs annually on November 8th to celebrate first gen students. And as I'm sure you recall, that term first gen refers to students who are the first in their families to attend college, which can sometimes bring about additional challenges for these students as they navigate higher education, particularly from a systems and a processes perspective. So this event was open to all, and it does a couple of things. First and foremost, it really celebrates the grit and the determination of these students, some of which you saw in Kenny here this evening, and allows them to hear and learn from each other's journeys with panel discussions and storytelling. And then second, it highlights services on our campus that are available to all of our students to help them succeed. This year, Mayor Hammoud joined me for an interactive discussion as part of that event, and he shared his story with the students, offered advice, offered inspiration to the student attendees. And the students really enjoyed hearing from him, took a lot of pictures with him at the conclusion of that segment, and we were just very honored that he was able to make time to be here at that event with us, particularly as it fell during election week. So that was a great opportunity for our students. So thank you to Ashley Cheers and all of the staff who helped lead that event. This past Friday, our own independent, non-commercial, award-winning radio station, WHFR, hosted a celebration in honor of the station's 40th anniversary. And I regret that I was en route home from a conference that evening and unable to attend, but I want to extend a thank you to Trustees Bazzi and Soba, both of who were able to be there. I understand that Trustee Bazzi brought his daughter along as well, and so we're happy to have her on campus and welcome her into the HFC family. If you're not familiar with the radio station, it operates under the general management of faculty member Susan McGraw, and it's completely staffed with either volunteers or students who are part of our Media and Communication Arts program. And this operation is really a great source of pride for us here at the institution. The radio station reaches about 300,000 listeners between Dearborn Heights, Downriver, and even extending into Windsor. So this also offers our students with a real-world lab experience, if you will, where they get to spend time being radio DJs. So it's really a great opportunity. The anniversary event included a live stream broadcast where many of the community members offered tributes and their favorite recollections of time with either the radio station or the college. This is going to be rebroadcast on December 20th to coincide with the station's actual anniversary. And you can listen to the station on 89.3 FM or also on through our website here at the college. So big congratulations to Susan McGraw for leading these efforts, and thanks to all of the students and all of the volunteers who participate in keeping that station going. Moving on to winter enrollment, priority registration for the winter 2026 semester began on October 27th with full registration starting on October 30th. Our credit hour goal, as you likely recall, we set that goal every semester, and that's what we base our budget upon. Our credit hour goal for winter is 113,689 credits. After just 1 week of registration, we were already at 64% of that total. Today, we're already at 76% of our goal. We have about 86,400 credit hours as of today. That puts us up about 5.9% above where we were at this time last year. Our unduplicated head count to correspond with that is about 9,100 students, which is about 4.7% up from where we were last year. So all signs are pointing to another really great semester for us as far as enrollment goes. And we will continue enrolling students, of course, up through the start of the semester in January. Lastly, our Higher Learning Commission visit occurred a few weeks ago where we had 5 peer reviewers from our accrediting body on campus for a few days. And, you know, I've said this before, it truly took a village for us to prepare for and to pull off this visit. And I cannot express my gratitude enough for the collaboration and the partnership that we saw from all areas of the institution during that week, including our trustees who took time to meet at 8 o'clock in the morning with our peer review team. Prior to the team's departure, we held an exit session with the cabinet and the peer review team. And during that very brief exit session, they outlined the next steps for when we're going to receive final findings. But they also offered just many very kind comments about what the peer review team experienced during the visit. And I was particularly proud at their comments of how welcoming and student-focused they found all of the faculty and staff that they interacted with. So that was really, you know, nice to hear. The final report that they're going to provide, or that they have somewhat provided already, contains the findings from the 4 main criteria that we are held up to as far as our standards, as well as 18 sub-criteria. And within each of those areas, you can receive one of 3 ratings. You can either receive a met with concerns, or a not met. The team also identifies any areas where we are required to engage in interim monitoring, where basically you're just keeping HLC apprised with regular reports about any areas of improvement, the work that you've done to make the improvements, and how you're going to sustain that. And lastly, the team then gets to either, you know, affirm or not affirm your overall college accreditation status. So last time we had a visit in 2019, we did receive 2 met with concerns, and we were required to do some interim monitoring. So all of that kind of sets the stage for the sneak preview about our preliminary report that I'm happy to share. Over the weekend, I did receive the first draft of our report, during this period now, we have 1 week to review that report as an institution and provide just any feedback on what they call errors of fact. And errors of fact are things like a wrong title of a department, a wrong title of a program. It's not differences of opinion on the findings, it's just factual information that the peer review team may have gotten incorrect. So we have one week to provide that back, at which time then the peer review team will solidify our report, we'll receive it back, and then we can distribute it broadly. The preliminary draft report is about 50 pages long, so we're wading through that right now, again, looking for those errors of fact. And I regret that at this time I can't share that report out broadly because it is still in that, process with the team, but I am able to share the broader good news on our ratings. Out of those 4 criteria and 18 sub-criteria, we received a met, no concerns in any category. We have no interim monitoring at all. And furthermore, kind of to top it all off, we were invited to elect our accreditation pathway moving forward. One of the things that occurred in a previous accreditation visit in 2015, we were put onto what's called the standard pathway, which requires more monitoring than the open pathway. And you have to be invited to become part of the open pathway. Our report culminated with an invitation to become part of the open pathway if we so choose. So we could not have received a better preliminary report, and I cannot wait to be able to share it in its entirety with the college campus. So more to come on that. But that's my report, and I will take any questions.
You ended up with amazing news.
Yeah.
So thank you for that, and thanks to everybody who have contributed to that very, very important report. Any questions for Dr. Ganko? Seeing none, we can go to the next item. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you.
All right, the next item is special reports and audit presentation for fiscal year ended June 30th, 2025 by Vice President Halley.
Good evening, trustees. I'm going to continue the good news and introduce our auditors from Plant Moran. Many of you know them. I know many of you are new tonight, so they'll give a little bit of overview of their history with us and the results of their audit, and also a little presentation. So I'd like to have them come up. Dana Coombs is the partner at Plant Moran, and Jennifer Longo was on site here quite a bit working with our team. So we've been very, very lucky to have this team.
Good evening. Happy to be here tonight to present the audit results for the college's June 30th year end. I'm Dana Coombs. I served as the engagement partner, and I have with me today Jen Longo, who served as the engagement senior manager. I'd say the history that Plant Moran has with both the college as well as the P through 12 school district is a long one. We have served for a number of years since 2002, so we have a lot of history, which I think both Kevin and Ryan in their transition found that to be very helpful in the process. And I've actually served on the audit engagements since I started with the firm. And as we were sharing in the audit committee beforehand, it hasn't always been good news, and so happy that we are where we are today. And even with transition of a CFO, controller, student financial aid director, that's a lot of transition. And so to come with audit results of one, an unmodified clean opinion, that's the best opinion you can receive from your auditors, that your financial statements are materially accurate. So that's fantastic. But also that we didn't have any audit adjustments as a result of the work that we did. And so what that tells you as a board member is that the financial information you're getting on a monthly or quarterly basis is accurate and something that you can rely on. And I think both Kevin and Ryan were extremely responsive during our audit process, as well as extremely collaborative, wanting to know the history and the whys and whatnot. So I think overall, great audit for this year. Jen's going to go through our presentation to primarily provide some highlights, primarily on the general fund, which you're used to hearing and seeing financial information on, but also unrestricted net position. So I know you heard a lot from President Gonko about upcoming construction projects and whatnot, and so as board members, it's important to know where are those funds coming from, and so a lot of financial information to cover that. So I'll turn it over to Jen.
Thank you very much. All right, so we'll be covering, like Dana mentioned, mostly just the story of the general fund for the year ended June 30, 2025. Total revenue for the general fund was $115.9 million, and this pie chart mostly represents what the breakout was for the revenue. And majority of the college's revenue came from tuition and fees of about $54.2 million, or 47%, followed by state appropriation revenue of $40.2 million, or 35%, followed by taxes, $16.7 million, 14%, and then a small portion of other. What we like to include here is a chart on the right side for the averages of Michigan peer institutions, kind of demonstrating where does the college align with other peer institutions. And looking at tuition and fees, you will see that the college does rely a little bit more on tuition and fee revenue than its peer institutions. And that's primarily due to the differences in the property taxes that the college receives, differences in the state appropriation revenues that the college receives compared to its peer institutions. All right, and a similar look at general fund expenditures for the year end. Total expenditures, excluding transfers, were about $97 million. And you'll see majority of the college's expenditures were on instruction-related expenses of about 52%. Followed by student service expenses of $13.5 million, or 14%, and then followed by administrative service expenses of 14%, or $13.2 million. And when we look at this compared to those peer institution averages on the right side, we do like to look at both instruction and instructional support together. And when we combine those in the pie chart for the college compared to the peer institutions, you can see they're very much in line with each other. Again, it's very consistent with historical results, and also with the other expense categories, those are also very much in line with the peer institutions, very consistent with historical. And then the last part on this slide, we do like to break out the administrative service expenses. That is mostly consisting of personnel expenses and then a small portion of bad debt expense as well each year. So now that we've shown the total breakout of revenue and expenses in the general fund, this line graph shows the historical view. So going back from 2017 all the way through the current year end of 2025, you can see that total revenues and total expenses have continued to increase from year to year, which is great to see. And that blue line shows total revenue, the red line shows total expenses. And on a singular year level, you can see that each year total revenues have continued to exceed total expenses, which again is great to see. And continuing the historical look back of the general fund, but this time looking at total unrestricted net position for the last 6 years. You can see from the bar graph from June 30, 2020 through June 30 of 2023, there was a consistent increase from year to year. There was a small decline from June 30, 2023 to June 30, 2024, and that was primarily due to some transfers to the plant fund, mostly related to capital expenditures and capital initiatives during that time. And then from June 30, 2024 to June 30, 2025, another increase, which is great to see. Now that we've covered kind of the story behind the general fund, we thought it would be good to wrap it up with a total view of unrestricted net position for the college for the last 6 years as well. You can see in that first column that represents the general fund, which we've been talking about. And then the other funds that make up unrestricted net position are the auxiliary fund, the plant fund, and the designated fund. So starting, looking on the far right of that table, the total column, you can see from year to year, total unrestricted net position has generally increased from year to year. And really just focusing on the current year end, June 30, 2025, compared to prior year. Again, you'll see another significant increase from about 80 million to 92.1 million. And a lot of that increase for the current year end is really related to the plant fund column you can see. And a lot of that relates to this MC project and the upcoming capital initiatives there as well. The other funds that we haven't talked about much, the auxiliary fund and the designated fund. The auxiliary fund and both of those funds really stay kind of stagnant from year to year. There really isn't really significant changes in those. The auxiliary fund is mostly made up of bookstore activity as well as food service activity. And then the designated fund is where the college has designated some of the TIF funding that the college is receiving towards student initiatives and more of a forward-looking approach there. So that concludes our presentation. Are there any questions on the results that we've shared?
Any questions? I do have one question about the bad debt expense. Did that increase from last year? Do you know?
Very small.
Okay.
It's very consistent with historical.
I understand that you had the audit committee meeting prior to
Yes,
this meeting where
that's
you had more
correct.
questions. So, okay. Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yes.
Next item, please.
Next item is discussion items, Technology Investment Fund Fall 2025 proposed projects. Board Report 4792 by Vice President Howard.
So I understand that these projects are not up for approval this evening, that the first pass will be kind of a review. And for those of you that are new to the board, I want to just briefly describe the Technology Investment Fund. Of the technology fees that the students pay, there's a formula that exists that sets aside money for the Technology Investment Committee. And so this committee is made up of constituencies from around the college. They have control over these proposals. They make these proposals, they make these decisions. It's a collaborative body where they can come together, compare notes, decide what the priority should be. Lori and I do review what you're seeing here to make sure that it's not competitive to other things we may be looking at in other departments. So I'm really presenting this on behalf of the committee. This is a committee presentation. And again, this gives them the autonomy and flexibility to make these decisions. I'm happy to answer questions.
Any questions on the TIF projects?
Sorry.
Trustee Al-Jahmi?
Do any, because I was looking, I didn't see him, but for the new building or facility that we're building, these are not in any of those buildings.
No, this is really dedicated to kind of those, the new technology that might move education forward in a particular department, new techniques, new methodology, new technology to use in the classrooms. It might be software that could relate to some of the classes that they're teaching. So it's really focused on bringing us current with what we're currently doing and not really focused on necessarily, the building will be part of a separate project.
Trustee Bazey?
So I see here in the report that the fund had 337,500. You're asking for 214,404. The difference, I'm assuming, just rolls over. That fund just continues.
We
to
do,
roll
good
over.
question, and actually the fund's been replenished even since then. So all of these projects are already funded. So when we come to the table with them, they're really informational in many ways. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President Holly.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Next item, please.
Next item is citizen participation, but Chair, we don't have any remarks.
Okay, we can move on to agenda items.
Next item is special consideration of an action item. Are there any action items on this agenda which board members or the president wish to discuss and vote on separately? If there are, we will exclude these from the action below. So I am asking for a single action to approve all the action items on this agenda except for items excluded from this action by board member request. I'd like to make a motion to exclude number 2, just so we can discuss it a little bit.
Sure. Okay, so let's just vote on approving number 1.
Okay, so I'm looking for someone to move to approve action item number 1 as recommended in this agenda.
I'll move.
Support.
Moved by Trustee Bazey, supported by Trustee Petlicoff. Any discussions on number 1? Oh, sorry, Trustee Sobel, sorry.
They sound the same.
Yeah, I know. Any discussion on approving the hazing policy? Seeing none, may I have a roll call, please?
Sure. Trustee El-Jehmi.
Yes.
Trustee Bazey.
Yes.
Trustee D'Ambrosio.
Yes.
Vice Chair Petlicoff.
Yes.
Trustee Sobel.
Yes.
Trustee Zahar, yes. Chair Moses.
Yes, thank you. We can go to number 2, and if you can read the recommended action.
Yes. So, well, I'll ask for someone to move to approve action item number 2 as recommended in this agenda. Sorry, let me read that
You
again.
have to read.
Yeah,
yes,
let me read that
you
again,
have to read
sorry.
it.
I would like to ask someone to move that the Board of Education approve the resolution regarding the acceptance of funding pursuant to Section 31AA per Board Report DPS 111725-1.
So moved.
Support.
Moved by Trustee Petlicoff, supported by Trustee D'Ambrosio. Discussion? Trustee Zahar, go ahead.
So, I just want to, I know that I've had a couple conversations, but I just want to make sure, and I know, I think Trustee Sobel attended a meeting yesterday, or was it today?
Today.
About this, and other board members too. So just to confirm, because I know there were some issues about, there were some lawsuits being filed about this by other school districts because of the waivers that were involved. And I just want to understand if I have everything correct. So these lawsuits have been filed by these other districts hoping to maintain their privacy and their own power when it comes to these things. But it seems like nevertheless they have approved the acceptance of the funding pursuant to Section 31AA, and then they're pursuing their legal action or whatever legal recourse they may have. So we're kind of looking to do the same thing. Not that we're going to file a lawsuit, but maybe.
Wayne
sort of-
Risa has
To my-
filed on behalf of,
Okay. so
Yeah,
happen-
to my understanding that school districts have filed, and they're litigating. Some have accepted the funds, some didn't.
Okay.
So,
All right.
Trustee Sobel, did you want to say something?
No, that is correct. And some of them, the deadline is November 30th as of now. So, some are waiting in hopes, even if they are board approved, they're waiting to sign off until, with the hopes that some update is coming in the next 2 weeks.
We're not
And so,
meeting before November 3rd.
right, we
Right.
have to do it now in order to secure the funding.
You could approve that, and they would not submit it until the last minute.
Right.
That was the what a lot of districts are doing.
Yeah.
So we would approve a resolution today not submitting the acceptance until November 30th or something like that?
Correct.
Or they might even push it further down the road
No.
because of the litigation.
Might go further than November 30th, pending on
But at
litigation.
this point, the
At this
deadline's
point,
November
it's
30th.
November 30th.
At this point, the state has set a deadline. of
Right.
November 30th.
Correct, yeah.
And it's my understanding when I asked the question that, and I was not at the committee meeting, it was from having conversation as well outside of that, is that the resolution was made so that if something comes of the lawsuits that changes the verbiage, we would, our resolution is such that we would be held to the lowest minimum requirement, so that if they take some of that language out that districts are opposing, we wouldn't be held to the original contract. We would be included in the changes if any lawsuits changed any of the verbiage down the road.
I mean, I imagine if they move the deadline, it's not going to be like a week. It'll probably be a
Well,
month or something.
actually-
So people can reassess, you know?
Sure, sorry, yes. Actually, so the state has given a December 21st deadline to disperse the funds, and that is not getting moved regardless. So even if November 30th gets pushed, it will have to be before December 21st anyways. So it actually might end up being just a week or two to kind of sort out whatever they can sort out.
So how should we word this? I mean, we can't just,
It's already, there's a legal document that everybody was given. The resolution
We
was,
have, yeah.
yeah, given to
We
us
have-
already.
I think the confusion is the submission. The submission is the district's discretion. It's not, I don't think it's a part of the resolution. It's,
But we would have to let the state know whether we accept the funds
we would.
or not.
We would, and trustee did a really great job questioning the lawyer, and he could talk more on that, but in my thought is, we do the resolution to approve it, but the district would hold on
Until
in
November
case,
To the 30th.
in case they extend it, to see what others do.
is that the resolution in the board report? The DPS 11725? What's the resolution we're making? And that's what I'm trying to understand.
It was given to us,
This pink and pink?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, we do have that document.
Right here.
So this
Okay,
is,
So that's this DPS 11725?
Yes.
Yeah.
so this is worded in a way where if it changes, we don't have to vote again.
Yeah.
no, that's
We do
correct.
not, yeah.
Voting on this now allows us to receive the funding that is $3 million basically, over 2 years, that pays for about 21 full-time employees that are
P12,
in P12,
yes.
that are basically social, emotional support staff and others.
It also helps pay, correct me if I'm wrong, for our SROs as well.
Yes,
But I think we confused the issue when we said to submit it at the last minute.
it has to be submitted by
November
30th.
30th.
No, but,
yeah.
so what I'm trying to say, it's not a part of the resolution. The submission is to submit it by the
Right.
timeline, by the deadline.
Right. That's not in the
Yeah,
resolution.
Exactly.
We can amend the motion to say only submitted by November 30th.
Our lawyers,
Yeah.
I don't think there's a need to amend
Yeah.
the motion.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, sorry, trustee Silva, where does this, maybe I'm just totally missing it. So where does this say, like, if things that we would be, what'd you say again, trustee Felchkoff, held to the lowest, whatever?
Sure, and I can jump right in if that's okay.
For you?
Sure, it's, we're talking about if this waiver language or provision ends up getting challenged and ruled unconstitutional or whatever, we don't have to change anything on our resolution on our end. We are admitting and saying here, we are going to follow what is required by law. The minimum extent of waiving privilege whatever is required. So if that gets ruled unconstitutional, we're technically not required to waive anything anymore. So we're not waiving fully, we're just waiving in accordance with this policy.
Statute.
It says right here, should be narrowly construed to be the minimum waiver of privilege, the minimum waiver.
Required to
of privilege
qualify.
Required to qualify for such
The
funding.
last two lines
So
on the
if
first
they
page.
change it at the state level, it will change for us as well.
Okay, let's do a roll call, please.
Trustee Aljamian.
Yes.
Trustee Benzie.
Yes.
Trustee D'Ambrosio.
Yes.
Vice Chair Petlicoff.
Yes.
Trustee Sabah.
Yes.
Trustee Zahar, yes. Chair Moses.
Yes, thank you. Next item, please.
Excuse me. Next item is Board of Trustees business, and first item is acknowledgements of correspondence.
I have not received much correspondence on this side of Michigan Avenue, so I have received a ton on the other side.
Another comedian.
Responded to those accordingly. And
Those bots are something else, aren't they?
yeah. Any other correspondence to be acknowledged? No? Next item, please.
Next item is board committee reports.
Well, we had the audit committee today, but you saw.
Who was
the-
the chair? You're the
I
chair.
am.
Okay, yeah.
Or the,
We held it and you heard it. I have nothing more to add.
All right. Other committee reports?
the search committee.
Trustee Aljamian?
So a couple of things with regard to the search committee is I sent that an email asking the trustees to choose one person for the community members. And I'm hoping that people looked at the candidates and made a selection. We had asked for each person to select a couple in case we have not a deadlock, we chose the same.
Overlap.
Yeah, we chose the same person. So we're going to do that, but before we get to that, there's a couple updates, from a timeline perspective. One of them is there has to be a couple, well, just to back up a little bit and recap for the group, there's 24 members in the committee, the advisory committee, and there's going to be 7 faculty. And as a part of the process, we have to advertise a listening session for the community and for the faculty staff. The community, once we choose them, it should not be an issue. But for the faculty, we've been told that they're not going to be available, and Tracy's here, till January 6th, I think? Yeah, January 6th. So basically, in order to do the profile, which is the requirements for the, for people applying, we have to do the listening sessions from both the faculty and from the community members. So to complete the profile and advertise the job, the posting, those 2 sessions needs to happen, and it's not going to happen until, for the faculty, until January 6th. So what we're being told, it shouldn't affect the timeline but a week or 2. But I just want to make sure this board is aware that there's going to be an impact on timeline. If we're not going to do the listening session for the faculty until the beginning of the year.
Well,
The state of the college is January 6th.
yeah.
And they will have a captive audience of all the faculty at that time, so that the search firm can have them all in one room, basically, to do a listening session for them at one time, rather than trying to schedule alternate times when, prior to that, they'll be on winter break and holidays and all the other things that they're contractually not required to be working, which is why we're doing them. In the meantime, the listening session, search firm will do the listening sessions for community stakeholders prior to the January 1, and we will already have an outline of the profile already prepared to go, and after the January 6th hearing, the input from the faculty and staff, then they can flesh it out with any of those, get our approval and then put it on the website.
And I
Would it
think-
be would it be advantageous to have even those sessions online if we can't get the
The
faculty to
survey,
attend?
I believe,
The community sessions can be held in December. Those can be both hybrid or online, exclusively online.
Survey,
or
yeah.
Exclusively in person. After State of the College, usually there is a small break before Faculty Senate has their meeting. So that would be in person with both your faculty and your administrative team members, or administrative and staff team members.
And we cannot do the posting unless we have those two sessions? Is that what
well,
the
we
search
need to
firm is
build
saying?
the profile.
Right.
And the profile needs to include input from
I
those
understand.
stakeholders.
Trustee Zahar?
So just so we don't speak too much, like, that profile means like the listing, the job listing.
The job requirement.
Right.
That's gonna actually get published when we publish the job. What, the requirement that, and the listening sessions mean getting feedback from these different search committee
Stakeholders.
groups
Yes.
to the search committee to see what they would like to be in the, right?
Correct.
So I'm just starting again because just being concerned that, like, I was under the impression that hopefully we'd be posting the job pretty soon. Now we're not talking about posting the job till mid-January, 2 months from now. That doesn't seem reasonable to me. And the requirement, sorry, I guess not I mean, it's not like a legal requirement, right? The search committee recommends that they get feedback from the.
Oh, absolutely.
Of course, but the
Yes.
search committee is recommending, or sorry, search committee, sorry.
Search
firm.
Is recommending that they get feedback from all the people on the search committee before they build the profile.
Well, not just the
Correct.
search committee, but they want to get some
Stakeholders.
feedback from all of the stakeholders. But I'm very hesitant also to wait 2 months for that session to be happening.
Why can't they do this? Why couldn't the search firm do this through some sort of, online portal where people individually, including everyone that's on the search committee, give their feedback and there's a deadline, and it doesn't matter whether you're on vacation or not on vacation, you can just go to, this is like starting to get a little, now we're talking about pushing out a listening session until January 6th at the earliest, then they gotta take all that information back, and we're talking about mid-January before posting the job, and it just is like, why, if they wanna get feedback from everybody, why couldn't they set up a portal right away
Yeah.
and have people participate? Like, there doesn't have to be a actual session. They could get the feedback from people at their own convenience with a deadline, and then the search firm compile all that and form a profile. That could be done in a couple weeks. I just don't know why we
So,
have to keep
Trustee
waiting.
Ajami?
So, I agree with you 100%. I think it takes too long, and I'll ask Tracy Davis to come up. And I think one of the challenge, and maybe a clarification, when we say the listening session, is it for the whole, for the 7 people, or is it for other people?
No, the listening
I'm sorry,
sessions.
repeat that again.
The-
Trustee
the-
Ajay?
So the listening session for the faculty staff, is it for the 7 people chosen?
No,
So it's for,
it's for all HFC internal constituents. So that would include all faculty, all staff members. At our State of the College, faculty is required to attend, especially the Faculty Senate meeting. And then, of course, our administrative team members are invited to attend. We actually give permission to the administrative team members to attend State of the College. So that would be a captive audience of several hundred people in one room.
Wait a minute, so.
No,
Oh, sorry.
I just want to ask a question. So let's remove the state of the college out of it. But if the state of college was not there, who would need to be in attendance for the
Listening session.
listening sessions?
As many internal and external constituents as possible. So the external constituents would be members of the community. Your internal constituents would be any HFC interested party. So that would include our faculty and staff predominantly.
Trustee Zahar?
So if the state of the college was, so you would basically call for a meeting? You would say, hey, there's a listening session on X day, if you would like to show up, show up? That's what would normally, that's what, how you do it if there wasn't this state of the college?
Correct.
Okay. And at the state of the college, how many people are you expecting?
I don't know an exact number.
How many people have come
200,
over?
300? I don't,
Okay, let's say there's-
300 maybe?
Let's say,
200 something?
okay, let's say there's 300 people, and the president does her her state, that takes a while, I guess it does, and then what would we imagine? Then the search firm takes the stage and says, hey, we're having a town hall meeting? Is that what?
That's a good question. I'm not sure in
Yeah,
this
in
data.
essence, that's what the agenda would look like. The search firm may or may not be here in person. If they are not here in person, that would be facilitated by the search committee, the advisory committee, or the subcommittee members, or the liaison. So any one of us could facilitate. The listening sessions are basically 3 questions, and those questions, the information from those questions are then used to populate the profile that becomes what we use to advertise the position.
Is there any, in your opinion, would there be any downside to simply having a form or some online thing where anyone who was a stakeholder could go and fill out?
No, what we had talked about was a concurrent process, so there would be an in-person session, and then there would also be the ability for particularly community members to provide that input as well. At the recent Faculty Senate meeting, one of the suggestions that was brought forth was to leave that portal open for the community, but to have the internal constituents to provide their information in real time at that January 6th meeting.
Okay. Well, why?
Can we have an earlier meeting or set up a listening session that the college can, in working with the search firm to organize that?
We could. The concerns are that we're running into some really tight timelines for the end of the year. So in my conversation with the Faculty Senate, the recommendation was if we would need a good week or so to advertise. So we're already running now into, even if it's done tonight, we're running into the holiday next week with a break. After that, then we're running into starting to prep for the end of the season, or excuse me, the end of the semester, running into finals, and then we're out, I want to say faculty is out the 14th. Faculty is out the 14th until the beginning of the year. So it's really a timing issue where we're just running into a very busy end of semester.
I just want to add, we had a long discussion on that, and I do think it's too long. But the limitation is, from what I'm being told, there's no way around it because of the 14th being
Our last day.
our last day, and because of Thanksgiving, the holiday weekend. But I do agree it's a lot. And I also, my biggest concern is the timeline, because there's a dependency on the profile, as you suggested earlier. So in order to advertise the job requirements / profile, these sessions have to be done. So we're not going to be able to get them out till sometime in January, the advertising.
Look, I mean, to me the concern is, President, if I have my times right, and anyone can correct me, President Cavalluna, or former President Cavalluna, announced he was leaving in April, something like that? And then he actually left June 30th, is that right?
Correct, yes.
And then we're talking about 6.5 months before we post a job? It's crazy. What would be the objection to just everybody doing it virtually through the portal? You don't need to have an in-person meeting. Like, what would be the objection to that? And the portal could be set up immediately. You tell everybody you have a deadline of a couple weeks from now. It's open up to the world, not to the world, but to the whole world of stakeholders. And then the search committee builds a profile quickly after that, and we could have a job posting by early to mid-December.
Personally, I don't have a problem with that. I think it's more the recommendation of the search firm. They're asking, or they're suggesting, and I'm looking at Mary's here and Pat over there, they're saying that they want to have a listening session. So we could, as a board, say we don't need to have it. But it could come back to haunt us, because they could say, well, if you would have allowed us to do it the way we want to do it, then we would have did it the right way. So that's the conflict, that there's a struggle For me, the listening session, when you have 300 people, you're not going to get the feedback that you want.
Right, aren't more people likely to participate? I think more people likely to participate if it's virtual, not virtual, if it's,
For small
online.
settings.
Yeah, or online individually, then if you have 300 people in a room, 20, 30 people are gonna talk. I mean, just that's my experience. So,
Yeah.
what would be the objection? I would like to hear anyone, I mean, I don't know what the search firm said, but I mean, did they voice an actual objection? Like, did they articulate what their objection was, if they had one, to just everyone doing it online? And why can't we do that, and why can't we just, decide right now to do that? Because I mean, otherwise, we're talking about 6.5 months from, much more than that from the time he announced, but 6.5 months from the time he left to post the job doesn't sound.
Well, we did spend a lot of time
And there
to
are
search for a search firm.
I know, but I mean,
So, and we
things
just,
happen.
yeah,
But I'm just saying, it's like, why can't we we could save a month at least.
I totally agree with you. I don't think there is disagreement here, but we want to make sure that we want to get to a good timeline where we can get some great feedback and post the job immediately. Trustee Petlicoff?
A couple things, since I've been through this before. A, you don't want to give the appearance that you're alienating a good deal of staff and community members by not giving them the opportunity to participate in this process of input. And I'm not saying that one way is necessarily better than the other. I just want to make sure we don't try to rush this to the point where people feel they didn't have an opportunity to weigh in, because the staff and the community are impacted by whoever we hire. It's not just our hire, it's the college's hire. So I want to make sure we honor everybody's opportunity to have input. And if the faculty senate was approached and felt that this would be a way to affirm that the majority of the faculty community is going to be able to weigh in successfully at this event, then I'll respect that. Number one. Number two, just because we're not going to have the full profile ready, the search firm is already, they know what the basics are of what you're looking for in a college president. And trust me, they are out there already scouring people who they know would be interested, who they already know are probably going to have the qualifications. We're just going to be what we hear from the stakeholders is going to fill in the nuances of our profile for this community, but they're already going to be able to start looking at people. This is not it's not like the search is dead in the water until we post the full profile in January. They're already doing the work to trying to reach out to people they know who may be interested and may be somebody looking at it. And then when the full profile comes online and they don't have something that the community really wanted, then they'll know, okay, well, you're not, and trust me, there are people who are going to apply who have no resemblance to what the profile wants, because they can. It's a job opportunity, and lots of people will apply,
Sure.
whether they're qualified or not. So I don't know, what the right answer is, and here is what I'm going to say over and over and over again. I'd rather do it right than fast. We want to get the right person in the seat that's not going to be here for a year and then we're looking for another one because they weren't the best selection because we rushed it. And so I don't have a problem with a couple weeks extra.
Trustee Sook?
Can I get a clarifying point here? For both sessions for community and faculty, specifically faculty, you mentioned this session would happen before the faculty senate that day of the 6th. How much time is allotted there, or would we have?
It could. That's going to be dependent upon you choosing to
Sure,
do it. If
sure.
so, then I would need to have a conversation with President Gonko and the cabinet to determine what that agenda looks like.
Okay.
So it could be perhaps a shorter State of the College. Usually there's a break between the State of the College presentation and then the faculty meetings.
Yes.
That could be an extended break.
Okay.
We'd have to discuss that.
Okay.
So it needs to be approved first.
Okay.
I'm sorry, did I answer that question?
Yeah, so it's flexible, I guess, but then to the committee, what are we looking at for a time frame? How long are these listening, what do they call it, listening?
Listening sessions.
Sessions,
Yeah.
sorry. How long is this expected to be?
45 minutes
Yeah,
to an
they're-
hour is what the search firm recommends.
One
Okay,
day.
and some of these, are leading questions, but, what is that, maybe you answered it, there's no agenda, but what is supposed to happen in these listening, I keep forgetting the word.
Sessions.
Sessions, I'm sorry, that, they're gonna get specifically out of being there for 45 minutes that they wouldn't get elsewhere. And now I'm flipping, I think
Elsewhere, how?
if we did a virtual, if we
A
did a form
virtual.
online, like, are they gaining anything valuable from being there? Is a presentation happening? Are we teaching them what to ask for, what to look
They
for?
seemed, from my impression, they seem to feel that in-person conversation draws more response.
That, the synergy from the in-person conversations, the amount of people who would reply. There are basically 3 points that they ask during the listening sessions, and those can be concurrent online as well. The 3 questions that they typically ask are, what are the points of pride for HFC? They also ask about what are the opportunities and obstacles. Then they also want to know what are the specific requirements, background, qualifications, behavioral traits. What are the things that you're looking for in order for this to be a successful person? Absolutely, those 3 things can be online. The difference between what they were asked, what the search firm recommends in terms of an actual listening session, is that you have that opportunity for the in-person feed forward if there are any questions or if you need to have additional points of clarification. There's also one point that we forgot as well, and that is that the committee, the advisory committee, will need to approve the profile, then the board will need to approve the profile before it is posted. So there is a middle step in there after all those listening sessions. You still will need the subcommittee, that advisory committee, to approve the profile before it goes to the full board for approval, and then it becomes posted. During that time frame is when the faculty will be off for their break.
Trustee Zahar?
I did ask.
So now it sounds
No,
like you said.
sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Let's,
Yeah.
Trustee Aljamian has raised his hand before.
So when we talked initially, and we said we would like to have a selection by February. But I don't think it's going to happen right now based on because I understand that we say that we're going to work in parallel, but at the end of the day, there's dependency. You got to finish this to get to this. In order to post the job and have the requirements / profile, you have to have the right profile, because if, for example, you say, I want somebody with a PhD, and then later on, and you're already accepting applications, then negate all the applicants that you accepted. And I'm using the PhD as an example.
And it doesn't negate anybody, they can all apply.
No, listen, like you said, we're looking for the right people, but we have to have a sense of urgency to meet the timeline. And my understanding is, I have a hard time seeing that how 300 people, we would have to focus to get their feedback, in 45 minutes. I'm not sure how that's going to happen. So the concern is, how does that impact the timeline if we wait till January 6th? And then, Ms. Davis had mentioned that we have to then get it to the board. Well, then the advisory board has to approve the profile, and then it has to get to the board, and the board has to approve it. So that's going to be probably end of January, So, and then if you look at the timeline, then you have to look at it there's semifinal interviews, well, sorry, you gotta get the candidates, you gotta interview them, you got a second interview, you gotta do a background check. I'm looking at the timeline. So I get it that we want the right person, and nobody here not want the right person. But we have to really, sometimes, from a faculty standpoint, there has to be a little flexibility to be able to work. Because my thought, and maybe I misunderstood it, and we had a long discussion, really nice discussion, but I thought when the faculty selected 7 people, those 7 people represent them. Not that we have to go back to all the 300 staff. And maybe this is where my confusion is. We have board members represented, we have faculty represented, we have community members represented. So that means the advisory board or the advisory group is not really representing everyone, they're not the decision maker. We have to go back to the full faculty. So could we, what is the role of the 7-member faculty in
Well,
this
you got
advisory?
7 community members too, then you don't want the stakeholder from the communities either?
So why can't the faculty?
I don't
7
think we're
members-
disagreeing on getting feedback from stakeholders,
Okay,
both
yeah, I'm not-
faculty.
I'm
I don't
not
think we're
sure.
disagreeing on that. But
No,
what
no,
we're
no,
saying is the timeline and what is the medium of receiving that feedback.
But,
And I don't think we should wait until January 6th
yeah,
to do
but,
that.
hold on a second.
Yes.
What I'm saying is, there has to be some flexibility to be able to do it earlier.
Correct.
And if let's say nobody's available, then you have to defer to the 7 faculty to be able to allow them to do what they're being asked to do. Because the faculties are choosing 7 great people, and those people should be able to do, should be able to represent the faculty if they're not able to do a listening session. That's all I'm saying.
I don't think not doing a listening session is something, I believe that is something that is doable in December. I don't think I know schedules are hectic, but we could ask the search firm to throw some listening sessions, both in person and virtual, and satisfy that requirement where you have the committee then would receive that feedback as well. Trustee Zahar?
If we can have a in-person listening session quickly, that'd be great. I'm also not sure that the absence of an in-person listening session would alienate anybody. I think if there's an online portal, an absence of an online portal might alienate people, but if there's an online portal that everybody can participate in, we did that for the applications for the search committee. We got a lot of applications. So, people are aware and they're participating. And I'm looking at our calendar. Our next HFCC meeting is December 15th.
Correct.
In January, it's January 20th. So even if we waited to do this on January 6th, and even if somehow, well, let's assume that they got all their ducks in a row from the subcommittee, the committee, and then sent us something to vote on January 20th, that's 5 weeks difference right there. And it might not even happen January 20th if we wait until then. So to me, I don't know why we can't open up a portal immediately, tomorrow, and have a deadline of somewhere in the beginning of December. 2 weeks, I think, is enough, more than enough time to tell the whole community, hey, this portal's open. It worked for the people to apply to be on the search committee and all the different. We got a number of applications in every profile for the search committee, and
A lot of those people were people who were part of that community from before. I would tell you, I saw all the names from those applications. It wasn't a wide variety of community members that applied to those search applications. I hate to tell you,
But-
there was a lot of very familiar
I don't
names
see
there.
how the in-person thing is indispensable. I think we could do without it if we had to. And I'm just looking at this December 15th date. I would like us to have, that's 4 weeks from today. That's more than enough time to get feedback from the community through online. If there's time to run an in-person meeting before that, fine, but I don't think it's necessary. And get it to the committee, and they get something to us, a profile to approve on December 15th. I just don't see why we have to wait and wait.
Is that something for the committee members, is that something that is doable?
I think for me, you could do a mix, and I see your point with the timeline of being the 15th. You could do the application process or the online process, but then you could set up a Zoom meeting or an online session and say, for those that want to have a live session, this is for them. And for those that are not able to do it, then the application process or the feedback process would be sufficient. You know, it gives everyone the opportunity to be able to give their feedback. It's a win-win.
Yeah, and then that way, you guys could meet, I don't know, the search firm could give you their feedback quickly, hopefully, from everything they got. You guys could meet a few days before the 15th, approve the profile, and then we vote on it on the 15th.
Well, wait.
Trustee Pashko.
The whole committee needs to look at this profile as well. So we
Correct.
would need to set up a meeting
Yes.
within that time frame of all the committee members as well. These 24 individuals we've identified. They get to weigh in as well.
What, the 24 people?
And we haven't
on-
even selected all
so
24
the-
yet.
Well, we're gonna hopefully finish that tonight. So the 24 people have to, what?
Review the feedback of the profile and
Have a
approve it.
motion to approve the like, how's that gonna work? Or they just gotta see it? Like, do they?
They-
I'm trying to
they-
understand,
they-
like,
It will be a
They-
listening session for them as well.
Yeah, they,
we have a million
they,
listening sessions now. Okay, so what is the point of the search? Why can't we just have the 24 people who we appoint come up with the profile?
That's what I said earlier.
Because we want,
That's what I said earlier.
would
Okay,
would
good.
somebody from the audience who has been a part of a past search and also is maybe understanding the interest of faculty being able to weigh in or have input outside of the search committee, is there anybody there who wants to speak to that or no?
Well, wait a minute. If there are people on the,
There's
if
7 people.
if there are people on the faculty who are not of the 7 that are on the search committee that want to weigh in, then they weigh into those 7. Isn't that their job? I mean, I'm trying to understand.
No.
Well, that's why I'm asking somebody who
Isn't that the job of the
can
7
explain
people?
that.
There actually is one correction. Our meeting's on the 7th, not the 6th, the faculty
Oh, okay.
meeting. That's when we return back for faculty Oregon for State of the College. I was on the last 2, I'll be on this one as well as a faculty representative. Certainly we are there to represent the faculty, and certainly we can take that input. And Lynn may remember differently. I know Lynn's been on a couple. I don't remember us doing that forum the last time. I do have to admit that. I do remember the committee getting together to discuss the profile. I don't remember us doing what's being
Listening
proposed
session.
here. I don't have a memory of that from the last time, and the other time was 12 years ago, and that's even farther back. But which isn't to say that it can't be done. But I do remember the committee, the advisory committee, as it's being called. We did have an in-person meeting. This is, of course, before Zoom, but to discuss the profile, and we don't really. I don't know if we approve it. I mean, ultimately, the
No,
board approves it.
approved by the board,
But
yeah.
we kind of reach a consensus on what we're looking for in a college president and then send it to all of you.
okay.
So,
So, okay,
Thank you,
so-
President Rader. I think it's clear right now that we can just do some kind of listening sessions, virtual, and hold in person for those who are interested, and then have
We have to have
the committee meeting.
meeting,
Their first meeting is to work with the search firm to get us a profile that we can approve on our December 15th meeting.
I think, sorry,
Trustee Leljani?
trustees, I think the original timeline, and I know it's been changed several times, was to have the advisory committee meeting, in December 1st or 2nd.
Okay.
And the profile to the designer by the 5th, by December. And that goes back to my original question, which you kind of disagreed with, is 7 people, the advisory should be able to do the requirement. And as trustee Czar said, the faculty should seek input from the rest of the staff. Right now, it's just going to delay because I think we're not going to pick a president until April, May at this rate if we keep going that way. And I'm exaggerating a little bit, but my point is we should simplify the process and let the advisory committee make the decisions. And for me, as a board member, I'm going to seek your input, and I'm going to seek your input because I'm representing you. So that should be the case. If we want to move fast, if we want to take it, the slow route, we're not going to have the profile. The original timeline was December 5th. We're not going to have it till possibly, end of January.
No, let's,
The other way.
Yeah.
The other way.
So do we have to make a motion to ask the search, make sure to get the words right, the board search committee, I don't know what we're calling them.
advisory committee.
The
Yeah.
three of you are
Advisory.
called what?
Well-
Advisory committee?
Well, with
We're
the rest of the
we're
24.
The
Yeah.
search
The 24 is the search
You're the
committee.
com-
The advisory search committee is
The
the
three.
24 people.
24.
24.
Okay, sorry. You guys are the search committee. The advisory search committee is the 24 people, just so I get the words right.
Yeah,
while we're talking.
yeah. And
Okay, so do we have to make a motion right now to direct the
No,
three of you, let's call it, to make sure we have a profile that passed on December 15th?
no.
I think
Well,
that is clear. but-
let's be clear. We have to choose the approach and the method.
Yes.
If we're choosing the approach of the faculty has to have a listen session, then that's not going to happen. Regardless what direction you give us, if they're not willing to be available,
That is on, I
I know,
believe
I'm
it
just-
is on them, but if we just make it available, we make it available, and then if they don't show up, that's, at least we made that opportunity.
It's not faculty, it's everyone who's a stakeholder, right?
Stakeholder,
Everyone who's a
inside
stakeholder.
stakeholder and community stakeholders. Trustee Soap, I want to get his input before.
I need to backtrack, sorry, and then this might have been discussed at the meeting. I was on my honeymoon, so forgive me. If not, okay. But so I'm even more confused on to what the point of this advisory committee is, one way or the other. Whether it's to take all the, was the original intention to take all the stakeholder feedback and sift through it and help put together this profile based on the feedback? Otherwise, if they're giving their own feedback, why can't they just give it through the same channels as everybody else? Because at that point, I do agree that we should open it up for everybody to give feedback. But again, if theirs doesn't weigh more, or if they're not helping sift through the information, what is their role exactly?
Okay, the search firm is creating the profile.
Sure.
The search firm is going to use several sources of information. The first layer is from the stakeholders of the community, be it faculty
Sure.
or community members.
Yeah.
You know, if the mayor wants to weigh in, if the business owner wants to weigh in, whoever. They feel that strengthens the success of whoever we hire because they've got the support by representing what
Community
the
buy-in.
community wants. Yes. So then they use that information and bring a profile to the advisory committee of 24. And then that committee also weighs in and says, yeah, I like this, no, this doesn't fit, and whittle that down. Once it passes that layer, then it comes to the full board, and the full board has the final say and say, yeah, I like it, or no, let's change this or this.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and so what we're talking about though is that first step you're talking about. The first step they were talking about is what they wanted to wait till, not they wanted, sorry. They were talking about waiting till January 6th.
Sure.
Now we're talking about
If you want to do
the
it
three of them
virtual,
figure out how to do it before then, whether it's Zoom or whatever.
Yes.
So that they do those other steps and get us a profile by December 15th to vote up or down.
as long as we can get that advisory committee of 24 together to meet
Well, we're
before the 15th.
Well, we're gonna decide.
We've
today
got a
or
lot,
tonight.
no, but we don't know what their schedules are going to look like. I mean, you got some logistics going on here where you have to get everybody in the room at one time.
We can do that virtually too.
So
I understand.
Yeah,
the proposed timeline for the first advisory search committee meeting is the week of December 7th.
Okay, great.
okay,
That's on the updated.
perfect. So
timeline.
that is within timelines for our December 15th
Right.
meeting. Trustee Bazey?
So the first profile is put together by what I've been calling this general community feedback.
Yeah.
And so they have to, the search firm,
Well, actually, the first profile is a basic profile that every college president profile kind of thing. And then, yeah,
And so
the
the-
feedback
the general
from
from outside of the committee of
stakeholders,
24,
right.
right? Have they begun the process of trying to grab that feedback so they can begin the
No,
profile?
that's what we're having the
Yeah.
conversation with
Well,
now.
Okay, but we're talking about faculty. Yeah, yes, you had mentioned maybe the mayor or whatever it is, those other groups.
That's the
So
other,
that-
right.
It got confused.
Yeah, there's some confusion.
The listening session for this first community-wide thing, that's for everybody. We started saying it's for faculty, it's not, it's for everybody. They were talking about it happening at the state of the college meeting
For
where
the
a lot of
faculty.
faculty
Open
would
it.
be, but
Right.
that's really open for everybody too.
Got it.
So now what we're asking the search committee, I still don't know what to call you guys, the three of you, is.
The Three Musketeers.
Yeah, is figure out
The-
how you're gonna do it.
The other community stakeholder listening sessions were going to take place within the
In
next,
December.
yeah,
Yeah.
few weeks.
Okay,
So we
fine.
can just
So
make
then
the
that- there's
opportunity
online
for
way
the
to do that
faculty.
too, Right.
Yeah.
And you just make it whatever.
I think
and, figure out a
I
way to
believe
make it
we're-
happen so that we get a profile to vote on December.
It-
You guys figure that out.
we're in
That's your
good
job.
shape, I
Yeah.
believe so. And
Well, we
so-
need to,
so let's
sometimes
just-
you got to put things on the table to
Sure.
agree, because there was, and I'm glad we're talking about it, but I want to be clear, the community, the way that it was advised by the search firm, the community is different from the faculty and staff.
Okay.
There are two different listening sessions.
Yes.
They're not the same. So we didn't have a problem with the community getting the session, because if anybody wants to join, they join. So right now, we're saying, we're going to do a session for the faculty and staff prior to, January 7th in early December.
December 7th.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about, that was the original,
Oh,
they
yeah.
said they couldn't. So we need to do that, and are we saying we still need to do the form, the feedback form?
Well, the form, you mean the virtual way to give feedback?
If somebody's not available, they could still
Yeah,
give
that
us
should- that should be
feedback.
there no matter what.
Okay,
right.
so, no, we just, you gotta be transparent on the steps. So we need to do those two things, and we also need to do the community, and we need to do them before the 7th, so we could meet as an advisory group and approve the profile.
Or December 7th.
Trustee Petrusko.
December 7th, yeah, sorry.
So, if I'm understanding it right, does the majority of the board then just want to do, they want no in-person listening sessions, and we're just going to do an online survey basically and leave it at that so that
No,
we
if you
can
guys- if you
expedite it?
I
No,
think
if you
it
guys-
I don't
could
think the
be-
search firm can get all of this together and get it advertised. We're not going to ask them to come here to sit in an empty room.
The listening session could be virtual. It could be a Zoom.
It could be virtual, and it could be in a facility like this. You have it up there. It's virtual. People want to be virtual, and people want to be in person.
Yeah.
They're here. And
If you
if I
want to
heard
do a
right,
hybrid,
Yeah.
if I heard right, the
I
search
like
firm may not be in person
they're
anyway.
not probably going to be, they're,
Right, so they won't be there anyway, so.
Something like a hybrid where you can
I-
have whether you're from home
And
or
we
you
have
come here to
done
the facility.
these before. The college is definitely capable of doing that, so.
well, I just want to be sure, because a lot of community members who may want to weigh in are not necessarily tech savvy.
Sure, yeah.
And that is not,
Well, then they can come.
well, that's what I want to make sure
I'm okay with that.
we're talking about the same thing then. So you still are okay with our trying to pull together an in-person
Yes.
Yes.
listening session as well, knowing that faculty and staff have said that they won't be on campus. So they won't be participating in person because they're going to be gone,
Me personally,
which is why they wanted to wait until
Sure.
January.
What I'm saying, and I believe, well, what I'm saying, and if everyone agrees with this, I'm okay with the three of you deciding to do whatever you want to do, to figure out how you think is the best way, along with the search firm, to get the profile. Just deliver it to the meeting by December 15th.
So what, you're just saying you just don't like the timeline, then, basically?
Well, yeah, I thought you
We,
agreed
we,
with that.
Okay.
we didn't like the timeline, me included, but I think we have to get commitment that we're able, because when you deliver anything, a project or anything, you could tell me the timeline is the 15th, but if I'm not going to get any acceptance, then it becomes a challenge. So that's why we're bringing it on the table.
Sure.
So for me, the direction is from the board, and I want to repeat, the community and the faculty sessions will have to be done prior to the 7th of December. And then we will meet as an advisory committee on the 7th to review and approve the profile and have the profile ready by December 15th.
Correct.
I get it. And I need to make sure from, Tracy and the team that, those things are possible because they're doing the legwork.
Yeah.
They're doing the legwork and she's doing an amazing job.
We'll take our direction from you. So if this is what the board decides, we'll figure out how to make it
And
happen.
just be aware that Tracy has already approached the Senate, Faculty Senate, who said they're opposed to going earlier than this January date, so we may have not the participation from them, and they may view it as our not, working with them in this particular arena. I'm just
Sure, I
putting
get
it out
but
there.
I'm actually not, I understand that, but they have, almost a third of the committee is them anyway.
Yeah.
And if they, for whatever reason, weren't able to put together a listening session before the 7th, they have 7 people on the committee who they can find their own channels to talk to and inform before the 24 people get together. I hope they have a listening session before then they can figure it out. If they don't, they have 7 people on the committee. I think that's like.
And they can address the entire committee as well.
Yeah, right, so I mean.
I agree.
I also think too, if you open an online forum,
Yeah.
anytime you want for 2-3 weeks,
Yes.
I mean, it's available to provide feedback.
Right.
Okay, Trustee Al-Jahmi, you want to go with the next step? I think we're clear on.
So the next step is we're already in agreement, and the college will create the online profile.
Yeah.
We'll create the listening sessions prior to the 7th, community and faculty, 2 separate items. And we're going to meet December 7th for the advisory committee and have a profile by the 15th. If anything changes or anything, we'll let the board know. I think the next step for us is to really right now choose each board member, choose somebody that from the committee. I did want to bring something else as far as the advisory board. We had, sorry.
Somebody get her-
4-inch heels.
By the way,
Yeah.
Trustee
somebody get her a chair.
Let's make it happen.
So we were going to choose, there's 2 administrators.
Before that, December 7th is a Sunday, so are you guys meeting on a Sunday? I'm just
No.
making sure.
So that-
I
so-
said-
That week? Or you meant just the week of December?
According to the new timeline, it is
So you
the
can meet on
week
the
of
9th or
December.
10th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, I think I heard the 7th and I just put the 7th.
yeah, just making sure.
So
Go ahead.
we'll say week of the 7th. Going back to the 2 administrators, so we know the faculty is being chosen by, their representative. And we need to figure out, and I seen Dr. Gonko, she made a recommendation on an approach, and I think Ms. Davis also made a recommendation. So I don't think the trustees should choose the administrator. We have to agree who's going to choose the administrators so that it's not on our, things to do. So can we talk about that?
Trustee Czar?
First, I think Tracy can have a seat. I don't think there's any
Yeah,
reason
please. Sit.
standing.
You're not obliged to sit.
Yeah.
Good,
Stand.
okay.
Yeah, have a seat.
I
Thank
can
you.
yell from my seat
Yes,
if you
you
need me to.
So, just so everyone, and I actually want to say it out loud so that I have it right, just so that everyone is aware, tonight will be, out of the 24 people, 7 from the faculty have already been selected, 3 from the board have been selected. Am I doing my math right so far?
Mhm.
Okay, and then we're going to be selecting 2 that are HFCC administrators.
No.
Is that correct?
But
Sorry, not we, I mean-
the board is selecting the 7 community members.
Okay, sorry.
We have multiple tabs.
Sorry, we'll be determining how the 2 from the 2 that are HFC administrators are getting on, right?
That's what
And then
he's
on the
asking.
committee
you.
will also be 1 person from Dearborn Public Schools, is that correct?
Correct.
Yes.
And how many students again?
2. I know there was a confusion about
It's-
1 or 2. It
it's
has to
2.
be 2 students.
And
Yes.
how many SSA people?
1
One
Okay, and
One
community,
foundation member.
on 1 foundation.
One foundation member.
and the community members,
7.
are 7, and we've decided that each of us are proposing one.
Yes.
And
Out of
person-
that, out of the list.
Out of the list that we
That-
got, and that person's on. There's no like, they gotta be
That's
approved by
correct.
everybody else.
No.
The
Okay,
firm said
great.
there is no way that
Just
you
choose
should
yours
be
and we'll move
voting.
on.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
And then just so I know, the Dearborn Public Schools person, how are they being, not so I know, so everyone knows. How are they being selected?
I suggested our committee
The three of
Choose.
you?
takes
Yes.
care of the other tabs.
For the
So
students
if
and
you, if you
the,
look
Takes
at
care
it,
of
Yeah.
other tabs, including the students too?
Yeah,
Okay. So everything except for the administrators?
well, that was
in the foundation. so it's-
trustee O'Donnell, and the foundation is, yeah,
Yeah.
being
Okay,
done
so
by the
let me
foundation.
voice my view about the administrators. So these are people who are administrators here at HFC. And they are applying to be on the search committee. So to me, if their selection was done by anyone who is currently on the cabinet or the interim president, without us knowing for sure that none of those people, the cabinet or the interim president, would be applying for the job, yet they were the ones who selected these people to be on the search committee, it's kind of, and then one of those people, either on the executive cabinet or whoever picked those people, did apply for the job, then those people would be conflicted out. So I would like us to find an alternative way that they're selected. I'd be okay with the chair just selecting the two of them.
I had no problem with the three of us selecting that tab too, but
No, it's, I think the reason I said that, because they're similar to the faculty in the sense of there's a union that's selecting them. They have their own union, and I think somebody suggested maybe.
I did.
Yeah, president
Yeah.
of LO 71 and SSA select those two. I'm open to any suggestion. It's not something that I'm like firm on, but I felt like just like the faculty, they're being selected by their own peers. Those could be selected by their own peer because we don't know who they are.
I know President Gonko had a suggestion of making that selection, so if you would like.
Sure, so two things,
share
though.
that.
Just one point of clarification. On the administration side, that tab consists of people who are in the Local 71 union, but also some of our non-bargaining unit administrative employees, which would include anyone who is from our Human Resources Office, and our academic deans also are in that group. So not knowing who is, all on that list from those groups, that it may include both buckets. And as far as the suggestion, when the email was circulating this weekend about how to possibly choose those, the one suggestion that I had offered just for your consideration was that we have a group here that meets weekly called the Cabinet Working Group, and that group does consist of all of the vice presidents and executive director, Tracy Davis, with the exception of the president or the interim president. And my recommendation was perhaps to delegate the authority to that body to make those selections for the administrative representatives. But I do also hear the potential conflict, again, not knowing who even
Could
from that body might apply. So I do recognize that would present a conflict.
Yeah. I'd be okay with the chair just selecting those two people, or, he can just do it quickly. The three of you is fine with me too, I don't, but.
I'll leave it up to the committee.
I just think, I think taking it out of the administration is probably the best course.
That's fine, we'll do it. I think for us, we just need candidates that want to be on there, and we could figure out whether we do random or what, but we could.
well, we've got a list of names.
Oh, did I?
Oh, yeah, there's already.
So we,
Yeah.
yeah, we could do that. That's not a problem.
Yeah,
but
that's why I said.
Yeah.
And I don't have any issues with any of those people who have applied. I think they're very
Yeah.
Okay.
professionals
Yeah.
who have the best interest of the college. So picking 2 out of the 10, even in a randomized, that's fine.
Yeah, yeah, so
That's fine with
we're
me.
good. We'll take care of
Okay.
that.
Okay, yeah.
We just want
Let's
to
go
make sure
to
we.
the community members then.
Okay. So is it we go through each person and we get their selection?
Yes,
Just do a roll call, I guess, and ask
for each
for
person to
who
bring
you
a
want
person.
to throw the.
Yes, let's do that.
Okay, so what we're doing now is we have 23 community members apply online to be members of the Advisory Search Committee. Am I saying the words right now?
Correct.
So
Yes.
24-person Advisory Search Committee. And out of those 23, 7 will be selected. And what we've decided to do is that each board member appoint a person. Right? Did I say that?
Correct.
correctly?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So we'll be asking for 2 individuals, the
Well,
first choice, and then,
First choice, and then if somebody else,
Well, I have a suggestion. Why don't we just ask each person who they're, just say
yeah,
the
and
same
then
name.
if we do have
And
double,
then
then
That's-
if their name is said, then they say their second name later.
Sure.
Instead
well,
of 2
you
individuals.
just read each trustee's
then,
name and
then,
say-
yeah,
I'd
one
like to
person,
just give one name.
one
give
person.
one name.
Okay, great.
Yes.
All right, great. Trustee Al-Jahmi.
Mohammed Rizq, R-E-Z-Q.
Okay. Trustee Bazey.
Hussein Hashem.
Hashem. Trustee D'Ambrosio.
Tony Guerrero.
Tony Guerrero. Vice Chair Pavlichkov.
Mary Lane.
Trustee Soba.
Razan Zahar.
Zahar. And just so for clarification, it sounds like my last name is actually different in Arabic and no relationship whatsoever. Just in case anybody.
Conflict of interest?
Yeah, it's actually Zahid in Arabic. My name is Zahid for anyone who took Arabic 101 at HFC. It's different. Okay, Trustee Zahar, Layla Dakrou, Chair Moses.
Rashida Nuzaili.
Okay, so the 7 people that have been appointed to the community members
Tab.
bucket of the 24 Advisory Search Committee are Hamad Rizq, Hussein Hashim, Tony Guerrero, Mary Lane, Razan Zahir, Layla Dakrou, and Rashid Al-Nuzaili.
Yes.
Correct?
Thank you. For the students, we already mentioned the committee will,
Right, we'll
We'll
fill
look-
in the blanks for the other tab.
yeah, and you had some great students who applied as well to be represented. Okay.
You guys, just so we say it publicly, do you guys know yet, especially for the students ones, just so we're saying it, like,
No.
do you guys know how you're gonna do it? Have any idea?
No, we haven't met to discuss it.
Well, yeah, we haven't really discussed it. There's also, and I know Ms. Davis is doing a lot of legwork to make sure the students, like we discover one person's an early college student. They're not
Correct.
really,
They
they're still
weren't
in
up-
high school.
They were 17, they were underage.
Yeah.
So you're
So,
gonna make sure that they're all of age.
Legal,
And-
yeah.
And available to meet.
And then, yeah,
Yeah.
so are you gonna, have you considered maybe like talking to them beforehand or anything like that? I mean, maybe you might. It's up to you, but maybe you might.
You're in a rush, but now you want us to be
It'll take 10 minutes to
interviewing?
call them.
Okay, I would strongly suggest at least 1 or 2 alternatives, just in case someone on
Yeah.
this list falls off.
Right.
Because once we call to vet them, to find out if they have the availability, the continued interest, somebody may fall off.
What about, is it also customary to have alternatives in case, someone's there for a month and then for whatever reason they can't come again? Like,
So-
is it possible?
We
Yeah,
just
part of
don't
the
fill in.
charge to the committee is that you are committing to be in person at each of these meetings.
At every
Sure.
meeting.
At every meeting, and that would include things like the interviews as well.
Sure.
So if they are not there and they can't commit to that time frame, then you want to make certain you have somebody else as a backup.
Sure, I guess what I'm saying is, after the committee is formed, do we have any, just this, it has nothing to do with the students. After the committee is formed, do we have any mechanism that if like something catastrophic happens to somebody, that they're replaced?
You
or
can't,
they-
no, you can't step in because then they would have missed
Okay,
meetings.
so
Meetings,
the
yeah.
committee just loses a person.
Yes.
Correct,
Okay,
yeah.
no problem, all right.
That's what's happened in the
Yeah.
past.
Okay, I just want to understand.
Okay, thank you. Believe that is the conclusion of the report from Trustee Al-Jahmi on the Search Advisory Committee.
That's a
Thank you
long
for
report,
that,
Trustee.
but at
Maybe
least
you
we
can
were able to
Keep them a little
get that
quicker
now.
next time.
Next, any other committee reports? Seeing none, next item, please.
Request for information and/or future agenda items.
Any requests from Dr. Ganko? Seeing none, next item, please.
Board member commentary.
Any commentary? Trustee Sobel.
Just a quick one. I just want to say thank you, Dr. Ganko, for the warm welcome. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to get to more work than we've been doing. And it was a great first meeting for me, so I hope you all enjoyed it. Thanks for whoever's still sitting out there. But I'm excited to be here. I'm so thankful for this opportunity, so thank you again.
And I
Thank
just
you.
want to say something.
Trustee Al-Jahmi?
I'm really impressed with the new board members. Trustee Sub has hit the ground running with his legal knowledge and so on in a couple of things. And obviously, Trustee Bazzi's been doing an amazing job. So I think we made a great choice.
Thank you.
You certainly did.
I agree.
Uh,
I appreciate if they didn't show up in suits all the time.
well, today was picture day. That's why we.
Picture day today,
Yeah. So I know in our next meeting, we have Thanksgiving. Wishing everybody happy Thanksgiving, a great time to spend with their families, and looking forward to our next meeting on December 15th.
Okay, future meeting dates, Monday, December 8th, 2025, P12 Board of Education meeting, 7 p.m. at the Administrative Service Center in the Frank Frangie Boardroom. And Monday, December 15th, 2025, HFC Board of Trustees meeting, 7 p.m. at the Administrative Services and Conference Center in the Rosenau Boardroom.
Thank you. This meeting is adjourned at 8:56.